Hello, I'm Mark Blunden and this is the Standards Tech and Science Daily. Coming up, Digital Road to Nowhere, it's Disney's never-ending VR floor. But first, 200 years after Charles Darwin surveyed the world's flora and fauna, now a vintage schooner is retracing his voyage on a very modern conservation research mission. The sail and engine-powered Oosterschelde set off from England in August on the epic trip, which includes training young conservationists and a global survey of bird populations. So what have they witnessed and how healthy are the high seas? Tech and Science Daily podcast is joined from Punta Arenas in southern Chile by Darwin 200 director Stewart McPherson.
Darwin documented the beautiful Cormorants dolphins all around the Falkland Islands. These are one of the world's smallest cetaceans. They're just over a metre or so, and they're really intense black and white. They're often known locally as sea pandas because they jump playfully through the water and they look a little bit like pandas. And we saw them in exactly the same locations and exactly the same numbers as he did.
And they're using some very high-tech methods to catalogue whale populations.
We've been doing some work trying to identify individuals in populations. On their flukes, you can recognise certain patterns, or in some cases, if there's been damage to the whales, which sadly often does occur, to their dorsal fins or their flukes, that damage can give you good reference points to recognise individuals. With the drones, you can actually then get a really good bird's eye perspective and see these amazing animals up close, which you just can't do from distance from a ship.
We wanted to know how big some of these majestic ocean beasts they've seen are.
Some of the baleen whales that we've seen are up to bus size. So we're coming back through the Southern Ocean for 7 weeks in about a year's time, and we're specifically looking for the blue whale. These whales were driven to the very brink of extinction 100 years ago, primarily by the big whaling stations in South Georgia.
And about the current state of the seas.
We do see a lot of plastic bags in particular, and as you would expect, a clear correlation when you approach big cities. For example, like Rio de Janeiro and Montevideo, as we've been going down the coast of South America. But I think a far, far bigger problem, which I'm really sad to say we've also seen, is the phenomenon of ghost nets and massive ropes from fishing vessels that are often cut loose.
And it comes ahead of World Whale Day on the 18th of February. Next, lightning storms happening simultaneously with volcanic eruptions are being linked with forming the genesis of early life. Research led by Sorbonne University in Paris analysed volcanic rock and found large amounts of nitrogen required as the building blocks of creation, allowing plants to evolve. Scientists are linking this buildup of nitrogen to lightning storms in ash clouds during massive volcanic eruptions, providing compounds needed for the first life to thrive on Earth. Now, feel like you're going nowhere? Well, now you can actually experience that same sensation in virtual reality too. Disney has demonstrated a device under development called HoloTile, which is an omnidirectional floor, allowing a user wearing a VR headset to walk around in a digital world. Apparently multiple people can even walk around on the same flooring setup, but Disney's not yet released data on how this magic carpet actually works. It appears to function using large amounts of digitally programmed rollers under the walker's feet. Next, charities are warning cancer patients face a desperate situation after the number waiting more than a month to start treatment hit a record high last year. NHS England data reveals over 30,000 people waited more than a month to start treatment after being told they needed surgery, chemotherapy or radiotherapy. This is the highest annual figure since current records began in 2009 and more than 3 times as many people as just 5 years ago. It comes amid heightened focus on NHS cancer services following King Charles's revelation that he is being treated for an unspecified form of the disease. Now, data from the Office for Health Improvement and Disparities finds over 100 children every day are admitted to hospital to have teeth pulled out under general anaesthetic. The figures from last year show there were over 47,500 extractions in NHS hospitals in England for patients aged up to 19 years old. Over 31,000 of the procedures were due to tooth decay, and tooth decay was also the most common cause of hospital admission for 5 to 9-year-olds. Let's go to the ads. Stay there for more news from the world of tech and science, plus the four-legged robot guide dog. Why not hit follow in the meantime and give us a rating? Welcome back. Astronomers at Cardiff University have discovered a previously unknown source of stardust, which forms the building blocks of rocky planets like Earth. Now, an international team of astronomers publishing their work in Nature Astronomy have identified a previously unknown source of stardust in the universe, and that is a specific type of supernova interacting with gas from its surroundings. Supernovae are huge explosions in space that take place during the final stages of some stars' lives. Monitored over the first 3 years after its explosion, the researchers say the supernova, which is based in a spiral galaxy around 300 million light years away, is one of the most prolific dust-producing supernovae ever recorded. And finally, robotics experts at the University of Glasgow's James Watt School of Engineering have developed a droid guide dog powered by artificial intelligence that they hope could help blind people get around public spaces more easily. RoboGuide resembles the Boston Dynamics Spot robots, but this four-legged, GPS sensor-packed room-mapping digital canine has software telling it to learn optimal routes between locations and interpret sensor data so the person it's guiding does not hit moving obstacles.
We developed some SLAM algorithms, simultaneous localization and mapping algorithms, to help the robot navigate its way in an indoor location.
That's Dr. Ola Oluwa-Popoola, lecturer in autonomous systems and connectivity. This dog, which comes on a lead, can apparently talk back to the user, processing speech it hears and providing audio responses in return. You're up to date. Come back at 4 p.m. for the latest news, interviews and analysis from the Standard Podcast here in London, and we'll be back on Monday at 1 p.m. See you then.